Hi, folks. Gary here, and hope you're having a wonderful summer. And if you have a few minutes to spare, let's take a look and see what's happening with North Vancouver real estate for the month of July. Okay, let's take a look and see what's happening. We've got July sales. We're looking at detached. There were 73 sales. That was about 4.3% above the same month last year, and about the same exactly as the 10-year average, and about 9% above month over month. Looking at apartments, there were 72 sales. That was 23% below the same month last year. And it was 27% below the 10-year average and 14% lower than in June. Looking at townhouses, 38 sales, that's 18% below year over year, 27% above the 10-year average, and 7% below June. Looking at new listings, there were 152 new listings, detached listings. That was about the same as what we saw 1 year ago, and right on the 10-year average, and about 25% below month over month. Over to apartments, there were 232, so that was an increase of 20% seasonally. That's 33% above the 10-year average and 11% below the month of June. And then with townhouses, there were 72 new listings. That was 30% higher than what we saw last year, and 40% above the 10-year average, and about 22% fewer than in June. Okay, so total listings. First of all, let's take a look at apartments. There were 452 new listings. That was 29% above year over year and 50% above the 10-year average. So you can see that we've got quite an increase there, although from last month, it did decrease. And then with detached, 370 total listings, that's 18% above year over year and 10% above the 10-year average. And then finally with townhouses, there are 144 listed, 10% above year over year and 43% above the 10-year average. All right, so let's take a look and see how that affected prices. For detached, the benchmark price was just below 2.2 million. So that's 4.2% below year over year and about a positive 0.1% in the last 6 months. For townhouses, the benchmark price was just over 1.3 million. That's 2.8% below year over year and about 4.1% lower in the last 6 months. And then finally with apartments, the benchmark price was just over 819,000. That's an increase of about 0.6% year over year and an increase of 4.4% in the last 6 months. Okay, so there you have it. It's a typical summer month, slow sales and fewer listings available. But have you noticed in the last week or 10 days, there's more sold signs in your neighborhood? And in the last 9 reporting days of MLS, there were 11 sales and 3 of which went over asking price. So I think we're setting ourselves up for a really good fall. I mean, it's too early to say, but time will tell. Either way, I'll be here to chronicle it for you, and I'll see you next month. Take care.